Okay, so I'm going to show you what we worked on last night, get a quick video out. The Super Loser will send out an email to allow you to weigh in by just clicking a link, and it also allows you to auto log in. And so I'll show how the auto login works some other time, but we're just going to show how the workflow for the emails and how we've templated, what the workflow for the emails is and how we've templated that. So I think every 15 minutes or something, a scheduler job runs. Let's look, run these admin tasks every 15 minutes. If you look in the admin package, that's one of them. And it does the check for weigh-in reminders. So this code should run like every 15 minutes. And what it does, excuse me, is checks a bunch of, it starts a loop for active users, runs through the loop, and it tries to find a bunch of reasons that we shouldn't send an email. So maybe the weigh-in reminders are disabled. We don't know when to send them. We don't know what time zone the user's in for some reason. Now we try to auto detect time zone. That's something else I could show how I do, but we allow you to set your time zone, but we also try to auto detect the time zone. And I think there's a default time zone, so there probably should never be a time. I think it defaults to Eastern time right now, but this was in there anyway, because I really can't tell what time it is if I don't know what time zone you're in. And we need to get the time for the user. That was a little tricky. Something I'm regretting now is not going to timestamps globally. Prior to writing this, and that's my way forward, I'm only going to use timestamps, not going to use sysdate. I didn't want to deal with timestamps, so I used sysdate because it was easy to code and not have to think about things, and now I'm regretting it because I have all these projects that I need to go back and convert to timestamp, and that's a lot of work, and I don't have tests written for all of them, so I don't know that they're all going to actually work right. But anyway, so maybe the user has already entered their weight. If they've already done that, we don't need to send them a reminder. So that's like, somebody could set this at 10 in the morning and they're in a good habit of just using the app or using the web browser on their phone to enter their weight. They wouldn't get bothered with a needless email. We may have already sent it, so we don't need to do that. And we may need to wait. There might be an interval, like they only want it every 3 days or something like that, so we wouldn't send it then. And maybe it's not time. So maybe we'll get down here where they need to send a reminder, but it's not time yet. If we make it down here and we don't continue, these are all continues, so basically it goes to the next user in the loop. But if we make it down here, we call send weigh-in reminder, which actually does the send. So we're going to get the body of the email and basically send it. And then we're going to update that we have sent it. So let's look at this get message body. So what this does is it does the hard work of using our template and putting the values in our template that we need. And this is the template right here. So this was the work that I did. Before this template was kind of embedded in a bunch of, string concatenation throughout this. And it was really messy to try to modify the template and figure out what I was doing. And I'm also using Markdown because Markdown is really easy to read. I could put some HTML in here if I wanted. But this makes this super easy to kind of know what is going to happen. Now this actually gets converted to a single space, something I'll probably fix. But I wanted the spacing there, but we won't worry about that now. Basically the tags for replacement are pound, uppercase pound for the most part. And basically we just return that. And you can only, really use a simple template. Like we can't loop in the template. We can't do conditions here unless we want to do that down in here, which then makes it a little bit more complicated. But we could do that. So this isn't a templating language like Jinja, if you're familiar with Python. Would be cool if Oracle would maybe embed Jinja into, or a Jinja-like templating language within PL SQL. That would be cool. And maybe it exists. Maybe I don't know about it. But you can see we just basically open a cursor, for loop. There's only going to be one record in this cursor or no records, but that's okay. Like we won't throw an error if there's no records. One of the things that happens if you just open, if you select into is then if there's no data, you get an error, but with a loop, you don't. And so we loop and it's only going to be one record, but like we use the loop for convenience and do a bunch of simple replaces, and then we need to do like we have to build this list of links for all the different weights you potentially could weigh. It's like plus or minus 3 pounds from whatever your last weigh-in was. And then if you don't see that, you can go and do a manual entry. In a lot of these cases, we're just going to the same page, but we have a forwarder that will auto redirect you to wherever we need you to go, like settings here. And you can modify your settings if you don't want the email delivered every day, or if you want to change the time. You can, and it auto logins for that if you're not already logged in. And these links expire like after 24 hours. Then we can do, if if you said, why am I on this? Why am I getting this? You can quickly go to a page which deletes your account. And then that's all markdown, of course. And then what we do is we return, and we use this Apex markdown to HTML function. I can't ever decide whether I like a space there or not. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So we just change it for fun. We could probably do better on our variable names here. So here we just basically return all that converted to markdown, and you can look up the details on that function, and that's how we get that, and we send the email. So that's new from not using markdown, but kind of refactoring. This is how I'll do it in the future. This is a lot easier to read, and it's a lot easier for me to come in and see in my Git history how I changed things, all that. So do recommend you learn Markdown if you don't know Markdown. It'll only take a few minutes to. There's some online editors, Dillinger, StackEdit.io that I use sometimes. I think VS Code has a Markdown editor. I like it when I can see in one panel what it looks like, and then and I believe Sublime Text has some add-ins, but I usually just go online and use StackEdit and then just cut and paste from there. I actually don't use many of the features, but I do type things up in StackEdit.io. So, okay, so that's what I worked on last night. We'll see what we work on tonight. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Thanks.